Ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to put your hands together and welcome Chief Ayo Adebanjo to make his speech. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
The co-chairman, our Royal Energy Chairman of Enugu Traditional.
Ẹ̀yin lẹ lọ̀rọ̀ ẹ máa sọ lọ. Ẹ̀yin lẹ lọ̀rọ̀ ẹ máa sọ lọ. Oòduà ló fọ̀rọ̀ sí yín lẹ́nu. Ẹ̀yin lẹ lọ̀rọ̀ máa sọ lọ.
Ọkọ̀ máa láìpọ̀rọ̀ kan gbọ́. Adébánjọ ẹ̀kún ọkọ̀ òkè. Jìgìjìgì níwájú Abacha. Ẹ̀kún ọkọ̀ wọ́n lẹ̀ wọ́n lójú. Ìwọ lọmọ ẹkùn náà. Adẹ̀dúró. Bá mi tọ́jú Ọláyínká ọkọ̀ jòó. Bá mi tọ́jú mímí kò ọmọ ẹkùn. Alálẹ̀ àfún ẹ ṣe o. O ti gbóhùn lọ́wọ́ Oòduà. Máa sọ̀rọ̀ lọ. The co-chairman, our distinguished traditional rulers, the chairman of the occasion, distinguished sons of Igbo land, and our friends from the southwest, southeast, south, and the middle belt. All leaders, you are welcome. May I plead with the audience to allow peace to reign. I am not surprised about the small disturbance. What I want to emphasize to you people is that what we are doing here today is the catalyst of the unity of Nigeria. And you should be aware, the enemies of the unity of Nigeria will not like it to happen. Hence the disturbance. But if you people are determined that we want the unity of this country in peace, you will ignore them and ask actually for the unity. Handshake across the Niger. It hasn't happened yesterday. It has been on since a few of us realized that in as much as the Igbos and the Yorubas are engaged against each other, we are each destroying ourselves. The peace of Yoruba land, the peace of Igbo land, the peace of Nigeria is established by the handshake across the Niger. And I want to plead with those of you who believe in this cause to turn blind eye to those who try to destroy us. They do this not by taking cutlasses and guns, by showing disunity between the Yorubas and the Igbos. Little thing they expand. Oh, the Yorubas, you can't trust them. Yeah, they are going with the Igbos again. You know what they have done? The Yoruba man will not say, yes. If you listen to it, you are destroying yourself. I want to emphasize, we have not come here to gang up. The Yorubas have come here in our own enlightened self-interest. We have not come here as an alliance. We are not ganging up. We are not forming a political interest. We are coming together to find a common oppressor. And each time we fight, we entrench the oppressor among us. Get it clear. Anybody will be deceived. Come to us. If the Igbos want to have presidency in 2019, come and join us. It's a deceit. Any ethnic group, any founding units of this nation who want to claim rights to the presidency, it must be through the Constitution. Not by anybody doing you a favor. Oh, if you are my friend, we'll give it to you. You don't have to be presidency of Nigeria because of the favor of any group. It is your right. And the only thing that can guarantee you this your right is the restructuring of Nigeria. No more, no less. At the 2014 Constitutional Conference, we have constitutionalized the procedure of being a president in Nigeria. The North knows when to be their turn. The South knows when to be our turn. The West knows when to be our turn. The East knows when to be their turn. The Northwest, the Southwest. That has been done, not at the favor or the pleasure of any other group. It is that one we want to agree on in doing anything in Nigeria. And I want you to attend. Make sure this is done before you do any election. If you go to any election without restructuring, you are perpetuating oppression. We must be sure under what constitution we are going to have that election. The cheating, the marginalization, the oppression, even the corruption under the government can only be wiped out if there is a true federalism in this country. The West and the East, we are not ganging up against anybody. We are only saying, let us be together on an agreed terms. And those agreed terms have been agreed to by our founding fathers, Dr. Azikwe, Shifaolo, and the Savannah of Sokoto. And let any member in this audience, please listen to this. Check up. If it is wrong, come and stop me. But before we got independence, anybody telling you, grandly about it, that anybody talking about restructuring, you want to president Nigeria. Those are the people who want to destroy Nigeria. Before we came together, before the colonialists granted us independence in 1960, we have agreed since 1954 on the terms on which to be together. And the colonialists sent us to London. Go and check up this. This is not making propaganda. This is an historical fact. There was a crisis in the old Western region. And the colonialists called us. Because when many of us say, if you don't understand restructuring, go back to 1960 Constitution. If you don't know, this is the basis of it. Because after that crisis, and the whole federation was in a turmoil, the colonialists said for us, ladies and gentlemen, what I am telling you, I didn't read it in the books. I was a participant. All the minorities that are talking today, it is at that conference that they were established under the willing competition. Many of our leaders that didn't appreciate the question of the minorities. Chief Auno was emphatic. You can't keep this country together until you create more states and have equality in the country. At that conference, ladies and gentlemen, please listen and check up before you either make a noise, before you reject, before you accept. Know on what facts you are. We're not campaigning here for us to be united. We have been united as independence by our founding fathers. And I continue to repeat, when I say we want constitution according to the federalism of 1954, Muhammad Buhari cannot claim to be more northerner than the southerner. That is the man who signed the constitution we are talking of. Check up. Azikwe signed it. Check up. Auno signed it. Check up. Who are you now trying to oppose it? And why are you opposed to it? And nobody has ever challenged that statement when we say we should go back to the constitution of our founding fathers. I want to be challenged by the vice president who now wants to speak to me that we want Nigeria. We are united. We have united Nigeria before he was born. It is no campaign. This is a statement of fact. Myself and his father were followers of Chief Auno, campaigning for federalism before he was born. That he was born in federalism. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us take a serious look about what we are doing. If we really want to be a Nigeria united, no other way. You just have to do restructuring as a real federal constitution. Anything outside it, you are not sincere. And I've challenged Buhari and APC before. Buhari is the problem of Nigeria by opposing restructuring.
Yeah.
There is no other way. Don't let anybody disturb you. And the way to do it, we will achieve it if we are united. And they know that. That is why they will always draw a will in our progress. Yoruba, you want to do with the Igbos? You have forgotten what they did for you. Igbo, you want to do with the Yorubas again? You have forgotten that is a thing of the past. When they tell you, when anybody tell you that, tell him, oh, we are not looking to the past. We are looking to the future. The only future that can keep this country together in peace. I want to emphasize in peace because when he knows he can't keep it together under the constitution in peace, that is why he wants to use force. And I want to warn you, Buhari will not do restructuring in peace. Because his people are the beneficiaries of the lopsidedness of this constitution. A simple example of what is happening will assure you this. Gentlemen, please, we are in a serious situation. What is happening in Benue? Hey, I want you all to know, if you don't nip it in the bud, the country is gone. A man who is in this country as the president for the last 2 years, seeing what is happening with the Fulani herdsmen, now pretending now that, oh, I don't know, I'm just setting up a committee. These are the people who kidnap a person like Falae. And it didn't utter a word. And please note, each time any community try to fight back these people, the forces of Abuja will come in. They wait them down. Then they know they are happening. If it's another person, they don't know. Don't be deceived. They are sending the policemen to go to Bakodi to be there. We have been hearing that before. Did they not send policemen to the Southern Kaduna? Did they not, the Prime President didn't go to Southern Kaduna when they were killing them? The second day the army got there, they will lay them again. And not a single arrest. Now he's telling us, I'm going to arrest them. Go after them. The man to go after them is the man who tells you that what is happening? It's all communal fight. The people are attacking the Bedouin people. Are they members of the community? And you know, this line has been continuous. At the beginning of the Aspen, when we have been shouting Fulani Aspen, when he came into office, try to remember, the authorities now challenge press. Oh, how do you know that they are Fulani? You will then at that time, they will now say, Aspen, don't say Fulani. They come from other places. On that place, from Nigeria, you should examine. If it is true that they are not Fulani, they are from other parts of the country, from Niger, and they go through to Makodi, to Adamawa, to Iloni, to all parts of the country. What security are you doing then? I just to show you that it's not a game. We should consolidate this unity by which all Nigeria will come together. We are only the South, we are only the principal factor required. Southwest, Southeast unity is a sine qua non to the peaceful unity of Nigeria. Note, I mentioned peaceful, and I said, Buhari will not do it in peace. He has ensured that all the enforcement of military and paramilitary are in his hand. When he did this, we shouted. You people didn't take care. Inspector General of Police, the Chief of Army Staff, custom people, Chief of the Executive of the government, says all Hausa Fulani. To do what? As a result, by the time you ask them to go after these criminals, he refused to recognize Fulani men as terrorists. And yes, the peaceful iPod people shouting for independence, he said he's provided. Is that the man fair to you? That is to show you that he does not believe in anything. What we are doing is we want our independence, our unity stay together. We don't want the unity of the horse and the rider. Where they will be the rider and we will be the horse. That is unity Buhari is preaching. We must reject it and consolidate this unity and refuse to reflect on anybody exploiting any iota of this unity among us. Refuse to reject it. Whatever may be our differences in the past is gone. What we are looking for is forward. To Nigeria in unity, to restructuring by the Southwest and Southeast being the catalyst in the solution to the unity of Nigeria.
Do we know what standing ovation means? Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chief Ayo Adebanjo. Thank you very much. That was succinct and to the point. We are moving slightly into the middle belt, and the voice from the middle belt is here. His Excellency Jonah Jang will have a brief moment to speak to us.
Thank you, Chief. I just want to apologize on behalf of our people. There are people who have grievances over Python dance. Okonia, Chelunu bikonu. It exists in every society. They are aggrieved. And we will give them time to express their grievances. Ọkwanya, Chukwu gọzie unu. Ụmụnne anyị niile nwụrụ Chineke ga-anọnyere fa. Nwanne anyị nwoke bụ nna enwe odo nọ n'elu ife a ọnya kpọrọ mụnwa bụ Ifeanyị Ụba, mụnwa chairman of LOC. A ga-enye unu ohere ka unu kwuo okwu. Mana biko, asị nọ na awa ọzụwa azụwa, ọ balụgonụ ndị aghụghọ ka ọ gara ịkpọtụ akpọtụ. Chukwu na elu unu. Nweenụ ndidi, ife dị ọkụ ga-ajụ oyi. Daalụnụ hinne.
My friends, I'm just trying to shorten time. I referred to you when I said they regarded iPod as and they didn't regard Fulani people. Until you restructure, fandom will continue. Under a restructured Nigeria, no federal government can enter into the state of any region without the permission of the governor. That is what we are fighting for.
Please silence. Please silence. Now we will receive the speech of His Excellency Jonah Jang from the Middle Belt to address the assemblage. Please may we give him a round of applause and listen to him. Thank you. Thank you so much.
The co-chairman, the leader of the Ohane Igbo, the Ohanese Igbo, and the leader of the Afenifere, Your Royal Majesty, our very distinguished leaders, very distinguished citizens, leaders of the Southwest, Southeast, South-South, the Middle Belt, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the press. I salute Nigeria today because of this occasion. This is what we have been waiting for. This is what we have been looking for. Because what is happening here today, it is the rebirth of our great nation, Nigeria. It has been the style of those that have never wanted to see the unity of Nigeria come to fruition, to continue the divide and rule, telling the Igbos, as it has been said, not to trust the Yorubas not to trust the Igbos. And going to the minorities to start divide and rule, because we are many tribes and they're putting one tribe against the other, and therefore some to say that it is their birthright to continue ruling Nigeria, and I say their birthright to continue misruling Nigeria. I want to say it here loud and clear that the time has come. If you look at this youth sitting up there and look at us sitting down here, what future are we living for this youth? I've always said that some of us, one leg is on the grave, one is outside. The one outside, the one inside the grave cannot come out to meet the one outside. It is the one in the grave, outside, that will meet the one in the grave and will be buried. What are we leaving behind for our children? I have a written speech here, but because of time, I will not be able to go through it. But I just want to say that I'm going to send this on behalf of the Middle Belt, publish it as our own contribution to what is happening here today, and to say that I want to congratulate the founders of our nation, Nigeria, that today are still, some of them are still alive here today, speaking to us. And we want to say that we appreciate you, we honor you, and we continue to honor you. And this step that you have taken to bring a handshake across the Niger, this handshake should be extended across the Niger Benue, across this handshake should be extended to the River Rhine. This handshake today is a handshake for all Nigeria. And by the grace of the Almighty God, we will ensure that true federalism, which our founding fathers gave to us, that has been manipulated. I'm sorry to say, but some of us who had been part of it in the military, because the constitution we are having today is the constitution given to this nation by the military, not the people's constitution. And we need to have the people's constitution. And the people's constitution must specify specifically how a federation should be run, devolution of power to the states, devolution of power to where the power should be. And the question of restructuring of Nigeria is not debatable. And it is not in the hands of any one individual, no matter his position in Nigeria, to decide whether Nigeria should be restructured or not. It is something, it is a deal that must be done and must be acceptable by all of us for the future of this young generation that we are seeing over there. This is just a handful of them. And we know very well that we have dynamic youth in this country, and this youth must have a future. We must leave a future for this youth, because tomorrow, as our founding fathers tomorrow, is we who are here today. There will be no more of us tomorrow, and there will be those that are sitting down there tomorrow. So we must have a future for them. Nigeria must survive. Nigeria must continue to be built on unity, and Nigeria will be a blessed country by the bless of God, that all of us will be proud. Even if we're in our graves, we should be smiling in our graves that we leave something behind, that Nigeria will continue to grow.
Put your hands
Jesus
together
Christ.
for him.
Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We shall get just a few minutes, very few minutes, from Mr. Timothy Gwande, also from the Middle Belt. Just a few seconds or two from Mr. Timothy Gwande. Please, a round of applause for him. For the Middle Belt Forum. Yes, Timothy Gwande, the newly elected executive of the Middle Belt Forum. He's a huge man, and he has a huge voice. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. All protocols duly observed. I'm most grateful to have this opportunity to speak to all of us here today. Even if it's for a minute, I'm happy that we're able to say something. I sat back and I looked at the records. And the records I looked at was the 2006 census. And I saw in the Southwest there were 27.5 million people. In the South-South, there were 21 million people. In the Southeast, there are 16.3 million people. In the Middle Belt, approximately, there's 33.9 million people, totaling 99 million people. If you turn around and look at the Northwest and the Northeast, there are 44 million people, with the Northwest having 33 and Northeast having 11 million. How can 99 million people say, let us restructure, and some people who are smaller in number say, no, we cannot restructure? If we are talking democracy, I am from the part called Southern Kaduna. I want us to understand something. Southern Kaduna is made up of 3.9 million people in 2006 census. Southern Kaduna, as of geographical landscape, is larger than 23 other states of the Federation. But Southern Kaduna, because it is made up of multi-ethnic, multilinguistic, and minority ethnic groups, it is denied its rights. When I hear people talk about liberty and liberation of Nigerians from Libya, I ask, when will they talk about my liberty and liberation from Southern Kaduna? When I hear people talk about liberty and liberation of apartheid in South Africa, I say I am still under colonial bondage. Colonial bondage in what sense? Because some of you sitting here would not know. Lord Lugard, who was a white man, was not a Christian. He was an atheist, he drank a lot and did not believe in Jesus Christ. The missionaries gave me Jesus Christ, not Lord Lugard. But when he was leaving, he handed me over to a new set of masters. This new set of masters have codified the laws and the structure, and I am perpetually in slavery. I can never rise above a particular limit. So I am the proverbial fly in a cup that is kept covered and sealed, and I can never rise beyond whatever somebody else has placed as my limits. When I come to Igbo land, and I come to Yoruba land, and I see that you are more in number with a greater hegemony, and yet cannot talk with one voice, and are arguing and disagreeing with yourself, even in a hall like this, I feel sad about it. Sad for the one reason that freedom can only come when even amongst you, the smaller group gives right to the bigger group. Because that is what we are asking for in Nigeria. That is what we are talking for in Nigeria. Let me tell you something. In the middle belt that some of you do not know what it is, let me just, for the purpose or the avoidance of doubt, let you know that the middle belt consists of Niger, Kwara, Benue, Southern Kaduna, Plateau, FCT, Nasarawa, Adamawa, Gombe, Bauchi, and Taraba. If you draw a line, I asked my assistant to come with it, but we don't have time, so I'll allow him sit down. But if you draw a line across Kaduna, straight across, you will find out that Gombe, Nasarawa, Taraba, Adamawa are all below Kaduna on the map. They are not above. So how can Taraba and Adamawa be northeast? When they are below Kaduna, they are supposed to be in the middle belt. Somebody somewhere has changed your geography. Somebody somewhere has changed your mental thinking. It took me 9 hours to drive from Kaduna to Enugu, but I followed the route of the colonial master so that we can have people who are going to tell us that we are very far from each other, but we are not. If you go to America and you go to Britain, roads are built so that it connects the nation together. In Nigeria, roads are built to connect colonial communities together, people who should be oppressed, so that me, who is in a village that is less than 5 hours or 4 hours from Enugu, am made to feel that I'm nearer to somebody who is 14 hours away from me because of the design of geography. Look at the map here. Here is Kaduna. Just draw a straight line. You will see where Gombe, Adama, and others are. Who is doing this? Why is he doing it? I want to ask, we have our eminent father here forgive me, sir, for not being able to call the title. It's not out of disrespect, sir. Our daddy Achebe, he's here. Let me, no, forgive me. You'll make me twist my tongue. I'm sorry. He is here. What makes him a second-class chief to any other chief anywhere in Nigeria? No reason. He is revered. I saw when he came in and I felt the air of importance and cultural value. Why has somebody sat and another person all of a sudden is recognized as the first and others are second. What is creating this level of domination? Let me say it categorically clear here. And I believe a host of us sitting here, we have nothing against any religion because all religions are good and pure based on the fact that there are people who practice it. But there are people who use religion to oppress others for their own good. And they are few in number, very few in Nigeria. And they are using it to acquire land. They are using it to acquire power. And they never work for it. But they are enjoying the bounties of the land. So they are not willing to allow anybody enjoy it. So anytime we want to look for freedom like restructuring, they say it cannot work. It should work and must work. Thank you.
Chief Timothy Gandu. Your name sounds like your physique. You're welcome. Please a round of applause for him. Thank you. I will call the next person to speak, but before then, let me most respectfully welcome an important person I need to recognize. Earlier we told you that the Ooni of Ife was to be here, but due to some flight logistics, he could not make it. But he sent a very indefatigable Oba Aderemi Adedakbo, the Elemoro of Ido-Osun, representing the Ooni of Ife. Please a round of applause for him. Oba, you're welcome. Thank you very much for coming, sir. I also place on record that His Excellency Dr. Okezie Ikpeazu is today represented by the Deputy Governor, Right Honorable Udo Ukochukwu. Please welcome, sir. And the House Chairman, Enugu State House Chairman on Information, Honorable Paul Najafo Nonenyi. Thank you very much for coming too. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call on A. Commodore Idongese Nkanga, retired, representing Chief E.K. Clark, OFR OON, CON, to please take this microphone and speak for as brief as possible because we want to also hear other persons. Do you mind giving him a round of applause? It will be an encouragement. Thank you so much. Thank you very much indeed. You're welcome, sir.
The co-chairman, very respected citizens of Nigeria inhabiting the southeast, south-south, southwest, and the middle belt. I greet all of you. I bring to you felicitation from the Niger Delta area, from the leader of the Niger Delta, Chief E.K. Clark. Let me say how glad we are that we had this opportunity. Sometimes they say opportunity knocks but once. Opportunity is knocking the second time for us. If we miss it this time, I don't know what we'll say. In my little geography, I knew that there was north, south, east, and west. But when Nigeria decided to come together, we had north, east, and west. If there is a political north, there must be a political south. Otherwise, it will not be balanced. And the opportunity we had before between Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe and Chief Obafemi Awolowo put together their intellectual prowess. There's no mountain they couldn't have moved in this country. But unfortunately, they moved in parallel lines, and today we remain parallel slaves. This opportunity of General Agui Ronsi and Colonel Fajri is that second opportunity that we must change the course of history. I want to thank all of us for making this possible. we have talked today about restructuring. I want to say that perhaps, some of us don't even understand what we are talking about. Please leave this place knowing fully well that you cannot restructure without considering at least 3 levels of restructuring. First, fiscal federalism. The founding fathers knew that there must be fiscal federalism. That's why they said 50% must be given to the areas where whatever product there is came from, and the other 50% to the rest of the country. Incidentally, the military came in, operated unitary system of government, which suited the military establishment. But today we cannot continue with that. And so we must go back to what our founding fathers said we should do, because that was the agreement. Today we are having unitary system and calling it federalism. That's why people are saying true federalism, because what we're operating is fake. Therefore, we must go back to what the true situation should have been. In Nigeria today, when they talk of federalism, we are thinking of federating the federating units alone. That is true. When General Gowon created 12 states, we had 6 states in the north and 6 in the south. Today we have 19 in the north, 17 in the south. We have almost 100 local governments in the north, more than the south. This translates to power and resources. And if you don't have this, you may not be doing the right thing. But let me speak from the aspect of the South-South. I congratulate you for handshake across the Niger. Please do remember that as you do the handshake, you may have some people in between and you would not want to handshake above their heads. Therefore, in the course of that handshake, it would be a good idea to hug the people of the South-South. From the South-South, we are very, very clear about restructuring and fiscal federalism. Today, people go to Abuja with feeding bottle because what we are having is feeding bottle federalism. We must get people to understand and compete properly in a favorable federal system. Some people say we should take it easy and do it gradually. Let me say here that gradualism is convenient for the oppressor, but it is not acceptable to the oppressed. The forum that speaks for the Niger Delta is Pan-Niger Delta Forum. Chief Dupola could say 1 or 2 things about the organization. But please, whatever we do, it is possible. We can do it. South-South, Southeast, Southwest, Middle Belt is a majority in this country. There is no minority. And if we go as a majority, we can change this country. I thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be moving faster. And that means we're going to play down on recognizing people. But I need to recognize Lady Veji Onwulere, former Minister of Education, former Minister of Foreign Affairs, former Minister. Please, a round of applause for her. Dr. Alex Oti is also here, OFR, former Group Manager, Diamond Bank. Dr. Alex Oti, you're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for us to ask the host governor to speak. And I would like to now call on the SPA to the governor on special duties, Right Honorable Owakwe Okota Azikiwe JD, the son of the Owele of Onitsha and former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe Asolazi. Please a round of applause to give the young man the boost he needs. You're welcome, sir.
First of all, let me acknowledge Abogidi, my Igwe, Bonye Mbosindo Nasria. I salute you, sir. I also salute the co-chairs of this event, the President General of Ohaneze and the leader of Afenifere. Your Excellencies here present, all legislators, both federal and state, elder statesmen, traditional rulers, Ndigwe Kenemun, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the press. I salute you all on behalf of my boss, His Excellency, the Governor of Enugu State, Right Honorable Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, who unfortunately could not be here to give this speech. He was actually here earlier, before 11 o'clock. He's always on time. And since the event hadn't started then, he had to go for other engagements. I am very pleased to be part of this event aimed at promoting peace, unity, and understanding among brothers and sisters. Even the Holy Bible declares that it is good and pleasant for brothers to dwell together in unity. Where there's peace and unity, the Spirit of God also dwells. On behalf of the good people of Enugu State, and in the name of God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, and indeed the awesome God of David, I heartily welcome you to Enugu, the land securely in the hands of God. I commend the organizers of this summit, the Afenifere and Nzuko Umunna, Kom Ohaneze and Igbo, for their thoughtfulness in coming up with this unity building summit and for their deep sense of history. Our fathers came together to struggle for our independence as one big nation, not because we spoke one language, ate the same type of food, or worshiped God exactly the same way. Rather, it was because even in our diversity, they saw enormous prospects and unity. They were convinced that we are greater together. Therefore, this summit is an affirmation that we remain one people, called by God to succeed together and to give hope to the rest of the black race. It is a firm endorsement of the truth espoused by our fathers that though our tribes and tongues may differ, in brotherhood we stand. It reminds us that Nigeria has come a long way and did not come by accident. It is a revival and celebration of friendship and brotherhood, and gives the hope that we can revive a Nigeria of yesterday, where every citizen flourished in any part of the country he or she chose to call home. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me to add, however, that peace and unity are not events. They are an ever-evolving process and work in progress. We must collectively work for peace and persevere this heritage of a giant black nation by embracing those things that unite us as Nigerians and shunning the ones that tend to divide us. We must uphold justice and equity, bearing in mind that justice is the twin brother of peace, just as equity is the twin brother of unity. We should indeed live by the letters and spirit of Section 42 of the 1999 Constitution, which clearly forbids any form of discrimination against a Nigerian citizen for the reason of his or her particular community, ethnic group, place of origin, gender, religion, or political opinion. Importantly, too, we need to return to the right constitutional structure to allow every constituent part to unleash its potentials in wealth creation, grow at its own pace, and enjoy reasonable autonomy in meeting its local needs and addressing its challenges. That way, the grudges, the bickering, the mistrust, the restiveness, the unhealthy rivalry, the security challenges, and the general underdevelopment bedeviling us will dissipate. Lastly, let me commend the organizers for the choice of Enugu, the capital of the defunct Eastern region, as the venue of this important summit. In Enugu, we are our brother's keeper, and every Nigerian is at home here. Indeed, in terms of history, character, and geography, Enugu has always been at the center of handshakes across both Niger and Benue. So relax and enjoy the hospitality of the Coal City State. On this note, I wish you happy deliberations and thank you most sincerely for your kind attention. God bless you all.
Thank you, Your Excellency, the Governor of Enugu State, Right Honorable Dr. Ifeanyi Lawrence Ugwuanyi, represented by his special assistant on special duties. Thank you very much once again. The next person to speak, but before then, let me welcome my teacher, who is the Vice Chancellor of Coal City University, Enugu, Professor Barrister Malaki Okweze. May you stand up to be recognized, sir. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the next person to speak is the Governor of Ekiti State. He is not here, but because he's a firebrand governor, we are going to invite a firebrand man to talk for him. And I'm going to welcome the former Minister of Aviation, the former Minister of Culture and Tourism, a poet, a lawyer, an essayist, a politician, a spokesman. Ladies and gentlemen, Chief David Oluwafemi Adewumi Abdulateef Fani Kayode is here. FFK. FFK. I took a picture with him and I'm going to enlarge it. Welcome, sir. And he's glad. Our in-law is going to speak to you. Chief Olufala is asking him to speak in Igbo. There's no problem. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Praise he that is high and lifted, that is more than able, that created this day and that sought to bless each and every one of us. Let me begin by standing on all protocols and acknowledge the presence of our elders, our leaders, our traditional rulers, Aobi, Kabiesi, represented by another Kabiesi, the leader of Afenifere, the leader of Ohanese, all our distinguished leaders that are here, governors, former governors, so on and so forth. So many people here. I stand on those protocols, and I'm proud to be here. I come here this afternoon wearing 3 hats. The first is the hat of a very proud person who is married to Indibo. And I speak on behalf of my beautiful wife who's right here. Precious, please stand up. I'm amongst my people. And we are together. Bless God. But before I go into just a few words that I would like to contribute, let me say this. My friend and brother, Governor Ayo Fayose, would have been here today. In fact, we planned this whole thing together to come together, but 1 or 2 things came up very, very late last night, and he said he wouldn't be able to make it. And of course, I was very upset, and I said, look, these are our people. We're being led by our leaders, and we must be here. It was very, very unfortunate he couldn't make it. He asked me to say a few words on his behalf, which I will. Also, another friend and brother of mine, Gani Adams, the Are Onakakanfo-elect, would also have been here today, but he has his installation on Saturday by the Alafia of Oyo. He's the Generalissimo of Yoruba land. He also asked me to say a few words on his behalf, which I will. And then finally, I'll just say a very, very few words on my own behalf, but I'll be very, very brief. First of all, the governor has said that he stands in total and complete solidarity with this meeting and this newfound friendship, this handshake across the Niger. He sees himself as primarily a friend of the Igbos, and he has always stood by the Igbos, and he will always stand by the Igbos. There is a rising tide in this country which seeks to build that bridge, and Fayose is part of that rising tide. And he asked me to tell you that he will do whatever he can to continue to build that bridge and strengthen that bridge and ensure that our people, the great and noble people of the Southeast and the Southwest, move forward together with one accord and stand firm in fighting for the rights of our respective populations in a wider and a greater Nigeria. So he identifies with you, he sees your pain, and he's proud to be part and parcel of this gathering. On the part of Gani Adams, my friend and brother, who is now to play a far more significant role in the affairs of Yoruba land and this nation, and of course all of us under the leadership of Afenifere, of which I'm very proud to say, Gani also extends his very best to you. He says, as he stood for the Yoruba, so he shall stand for the Igbo. His role and his new role will be one that will have monumental implications for what's going to happen in the next few months and years in this country. And I urge each and every one of you to pray for him, because if anybody knows the historical significance of that title, they'll realize that everything literally hangs on his shoulder in terms of the welfare of our people. And if we are to ever go into battle, he will be the one to lead us into it. And of course, we'll be proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with him, and we will enter that battle together. So he sends his very, very best to you. Now, let me just say this on my own behalf, because I have to be very brief. I wish to make it very clear that this is a great gathering, long overdue, should have happened many years ago. And it's the beginning of great things. But we must focus on the issues and stop trying to be too politically correct. And let's look at those issues very briefly. In this nation today, there are slaves called vassals, and there are masters. Unfortunately for us, those that see themselves as masters consider the rest of us as slaves and vassals. Simple. What we need to do is to come together and say to them with one accord that we are no slaves. We have never been slaves, and we will never be slaves. The suffering of the people of the Southeast, and I say this without any fear of contradiction, the suffering of the people of the Southeast is something that we in the rest of Nigeria have to apologize to you for. You lost almost 2 million people in the Civil War, children, 1 million children. You were slaughtered on the night of July 28th, 1966, when 300 Igbo officers were slaughtered in one night. And the great Fajuyi, who sacrificed his life to build this bridge, and the great leader of our country at the time, the great Ironside, all of them stood together, and they all died together. 300 were killed that night. After that, a few months later, over 100,000 Igbos were slaughtered in the north. Pregnant women had children taken out of their stomachs. People were slaughtered from house to house. They were killed like flies. Then came the Civil War. 1 million little children, 1 million little children were starved to death. After that, year after year, decade after decade, pogroms, killings, slaughtering in the north of primarily Igbos and also Southerners. Didn't stop there. They also, as they have always done, slaughtered people of the Middle Belt. And I'm glad that the great Governor Jang is here today, who has spoken so well. Their people have suffered almost as much, if not more, than the Southeast. Why? Because everything was taken from there, their identity, everything, and they slaughtered them morning, day, and night. Last Christmas, 808 people slaughtered on Christmas Day alone. Yet the slaughtering didn't stop, and we know who does the slaughtering. It has gone on and on till today. Yesterday was Benue. Today it is Taraba. Before then it was Numan. It goes on and on. And I will also say this. What has happened in the last 1 year in the Southeast concerning those that are members of IPOB. What they have done to them is absolutely reprehensible. It is unacceptable. It is wrong. They came, they slaughtered, they killed. And I stand and I speak to you today that as a friend to the great Nnamdi Kanu, I will never forget him. And I call on the government of Muhammadu Buhari, whatever you have done to him, wherever he is, I ask you to produce him and let us have him. Whether you've killed him, tell us. Whether you have him, tell us. Bring him back to us. I acknowledge him. And I also acknowledge the hundreds and thousands that have been slaughtered, the young IPOB warriors, the young Igbo warriors, the Yorubas that have been slaughtered over the years. Many don't know. We have them here. Many of our people were locked up, were killed during the June 12th struggle by the same people. Many were driven into exile. Abiola was killed. Abiola's wife was killed. It went on and on. But let me say this. The time of reckoning has finally arrived. Once the strength of the Igbo and the strength of the Yoruba come together, the time of reckoning has arrived. The hegemony of those that have ruled over us since 1960 is hereby broken in Jesus' name. Finally, let me say this. I call for the proscription and the banning of Mieti Allah, who are those that control the Fulani herdsmen. I call that the federal government should ban them, declare them a terrorist organization, and they should block them. I call on this government to recognize the rights of the people of the South, to recognize the rights of the people of the Southeast and the people of the Southwest. And I recognize the fact and acknowledge the fact that as long as we stand together, nothing can stop us. Nothing can hold us back. Nothing can hold us down. Let me end by saying this. Please, let me end by saying this. The struggle we are facing and the blood that has been shed has attracted all manner of evil upon our nation. If anybody expects those that shed this blood habitually, and those that have a clear Islamization agenda, and those that seek to destroy the Christian faith and the body of Christ, if you think they will change, they will not change. But let me say this. The time for that change has finally come. I commend the organizers of this meeting. I commend the leaders of the East. I commend the leaders of the West. I'm so proud of them. Chief Olufalaye is there. I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of Babade Banjo. These are strong men. I'm so proud of so many of them because they've been saying these things since the 50s, the 40s, since the 60s. Throughout, they were telling us we didn't listen. But let me tell you, they are living to see the beginning of the end of the hegemonies, and we shall be delivered. Finally, let me say this. One more thing, just one more thing about the Igbos. Your sons, your greatest sons in the private sector, it's not all about politics. I'm talking about people like Innocent Motors, Chief Innocent Chukwumeka, Chukwuma, sorry. I'm talking about people like Ifeanyi Uba. I'm talking about people like the great Cleto Sipetu, who I spent time with in detention. These are men that this government is trying to destroy simply because they come from the Southeast. They've done it to us as well in the Southwest. I could mention names of many Southwest they've tried to crush. But I'll tell you what, it all ends as from today. And I urge the organizers of this event to continue the initiative. We have no fear. They can kill us. They can send us to jail. They can destroy us. They've already done it. They've killed our children. They've killed our wives. They've killed our men. They've killed our elders. They've killed our leaders. We have no fear. I say to them, do your worst. You know what? Do your worst. You can only kill the body. You can't kill the soul. You can't kill the spirit. Christians don't die. They only change their dress. Doesn't matter anymore. We have no fear. God be with you. God be with those that organize this great conference. God be with the people of Southeast. God be with the people of Southwest. God be with each and every one of us. And if they say they will not restructure, let it be loud and clear. We are ready to do it by force. If there's no restructuring, let there be no Nigeria anymore. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. We salute FFK for that rousing speech.